HDB flat prices in the resale market have skyrocketed this year in 2021 due to delayed construction of newer built-to-order flats. The demand surge has brought back the once banished cash over valuation, and this is really bad news for first-time home buyers like me. So there are some nice units in this area that I really want to move into, but they are asking for a very high price which carries cash over valuation. And according to HDB rules, buyers must first pay the difference in cash. But I wasn't prepared to pay for that. So to understand why do I have to pay more than what is needed, I'm making this video to find out where does cash over valuation come from. Getting a place of our own is an important step to adulting and independence. HDB flats are built by the Housing and Development Board, the Public Housing Authority, and they are responsible for providing affordable public housing in one of the most expensive cities in the world. In order to understand what is cash over valuation, we must first understand how valuations are derived. In economics, property valuations can be calculated using the hedonic pricing model. It uses the recently transacted prices to work backwards to derive how much each of these factors affect price, such as location, distance to city center, distance to nearest MRT, floor height, square space, and etc. So if we can put dots in the graph of price versus quality, which represents transactions, then we can draw a hedonic price function through them as a line of best fit. So whenever a new flat pops up, the properties of that property, such as location, distance to city center, etc., can be plugged into the formula to find out what's the fair value or market price of that unit. So in the past, buyers and sellers first request a valuation from HDB and then negotiated on a price. In a falling market, deals usually close below valuation, whereas in a rising market, deals close at a price above valuation. As more units close at a higher price, the prices feed back into the model, causing valuations to rise. To keep housing affordable, HDB allows new home buyers to borrow up to 90% of the agreed price or market value of the flat, whichever is lower. So when a willing buyer and a willing seller agrees on a price above valuation, the gap is called cash over valuation. HDB and banks are not going to lend us money to pay a premium over flats, which kind of makes sense because this avoids over-lending, which may lead to prices spiraling out of control. So if someone else also wants to buy the same unit as I want to, I better make a higher offer, and I better be sure also that I have extra cash to make that offer. The COV model was controversial as buyers and sellers negotiated on a price above the official valuation, even though all of the attributes of the flats have already been taken into consideration in the valuation. To make sense of that, cash over valuation tends to happen to better units compared to other normal units, quote and unquote. Sellers would not part with their properties until they make extra cash from it, while eager buyers are willing to make a higher offer. Coming back to the hedonic pricing equation earlier, this translates to some factors that cannot be included because they cannot be quantified, such as a nicer view from home, amenities like supermarket, rarity of the flat design, interior design, staging, furniture, look and feel, negotiating for an auspicious price with the number 8, exuberance in the market, and these factors affect how much a buyer is willing to pay above market valuations. In 2012, a HDB flat in Queenstown was the first HDB to sell at $1 million. It was an executive maisonette situated on a high floor which offers unblocked views of Queenstown Stadium and is also quite close to the city centre. It is reported that its stunning views attracted a cash over valuation of $195,000. So I came down here to check out the view, and indeed it's very good. I can see the Queenstown Stadium and I can see this huge open space in front of the block as well, and I can see the trees. And for a high floor, it's definitely one of the better views out there. But for $1 million and a decaying lease for a flat, I'm not so sure about that. But definitely there might be people who would prefer to stay here and live out the entire lease. Not long after, in 2013, another similar unit in Bishan closed at $1 million, which carries a cash over valuation of $250,000, which was one of the highest ever recorded. In 2014, HDB decided to whack the market with cooling measures to restore the original intention of valuation and help home buyers get loans for their HDBs. This also reduces the cases of paying cash over valuation. HDB also stopped publishing the cash over valuation database. I think HDB feared that it might trigger another housing-related crisis, just like the 2008 housing crisis in the US, which happened due to over-easy lending of credit to home buyers. And more people were also complaining that public housing prices are no longer affordable anymore. So HDB then changed the rules of the negotiation process. HDB will only tell home buyers and sellers the official valuation of the unit after they have agreed on a price. So if the price is far too off from the valuation, then the buyers can back out and they will lose a small deposit, which is their option fee, typically about $1,000. But the seller cannot back out if the buyer chooses to proceed. And if the price is below the valuation, the seller also cannot back out. So to ensure smooth deals are being made, HDB encourages buyers and sellers to look at the recently transacted prices on HDB's websites. The resale market then sank as sellers started offloading their properties below their hoped prices, and buyers were more resistant to pay cash over valuation. Now in 2020 to 2021, prices started picking up again as people search for homes, as the global pandemic situation makes it difficult for construction firms to bring in manpower. New flats were delayed, and even a major construction firm went bust. So demand for resale flats went through the roof. As many people can't go for fancy traveling anymore, what do they do with their spare cash? Buy a property, of course. Sellers, on the other hand, are keen to cash out on their HDB flats, especially people who bought at the top of the previous bull market before the cooling measures. Many HDB sellers also want to upgrade to a condo. With stock markets hovering at all-time highs and some cryptocurrency millionaires are amongst us, there's never a better time to unleash the cash over valuation beast. Just when we thought the cash over valuation database has died, a new crowdsourced database has emerged. Could this be the start of another trend of negotiating cash over valuations instead of recently transacted prices? With the surge in HDB flat prices, analysts speculate cooling measures by the government. Recent official comments, however, suggest that the government won't do so yet. National Development ministers say the government is watching the property market very closely and will adjust policies if needed. I know that I'm a picky buyer, and I want a newer HDB resale flat. I want to have a good view, I want to have a supermarket downstairs and near the MRT station and like all the good stuff, right? But I know that I'll be competing with many other buyers out there who want the same thing, so we have to compete on price. So it seems like we're not going to get any cooling measures anytime soon or so, and while I hate paying cash over valuation, I've come to accept that this is where the HDB market came from, and this is how the current system is. There are certainly some units better than others out there, and the way the system is designed is that these better units are allocated to buyers who are willing to pay the most for them. So if I really want to secure my ideal unit and convince the seller to give it to me instead of 10 other different buyers, then I should make a very good offer, even if it means paying cash over valuation or giving what they're asking for, which is also often slightly over valuation. And I think that whether there are cooling measures or not in the market, these extra desirable units are going to have some competition or cash over valuation among buyers anyway. After all, it's just one unit and one home that we're going for, and the premium might very well be worth it.